Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Also posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building.
Record attendance?
Mr. Martin is absent this evening. Mr. Sprague?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Present.
Deputy Mayor? Present. Mayor?
Here.
Mr. Lees?
Here.
Mr. Burns?
Present.
Mr. Haynes?
Here.
Ms. Amato?
All right, this is a report from the subcommittee on Warren Town Hall. I'd like to have Tom give his presentation first of what contributions of all time others are in.
Thank you, man.
Yes.
Where makes you feel comfortable?
You're gonna have to go all, I think.
Oh,
I can see it from here, so there was
I don't know if everybody, let me just come over here somewhere. Thank you, members of the committee. As a result of a building subcommittee meeting that was held about 3-4 weeks ago, I was asked to just give a progress report on the condition of the existing town hall. Just as a little background, because I know some of you folks are relatively new to it, may not know the background. Back in June of 2021, the Township Committee tasked then former Administrator Kramer with a update of all the buildings, municipally owned buildings within the township. During that report, I had put for the town hall that there appeared to be possible structural issues primarily in the basement of town hall. As a result of that, the committee decided to vote to hire Rybread Architects to conduct a structural evaluation of town hall as well as some of the other buildings, but primarily town hall. During that structural evaluation, it was determined that there were several members that were deficient in strength, and that it was recommended by the structural engineer, Michael Beach, who was hired by Rybread, that the building was going to be unfit for human occupancy. During discussions with Michael Beach, we were able to get an extension of time to stay in the building of approximately 3 months as a result of some shoring that was done in the basement to support it. The building in February of, that report was given on October 12th of 2021. February of 2022, everybody moved out of the building. The building was declared unsafe. During December of 2022, a public demonstration was given at Seneca High School outlining the deficiencies that were found in this report, as well as possible areas for repair or replacement of this building. During that time period and up until the present, it's been my habit that approximately once a month I go into the building just to check everything out. There was no significant or obvious deterioration up until about 4 or 5 months ago. We're going to go through some of these slides just to show you some of the issues that are present. Here you see a picture of the floor of what was the former administrator's office. This is a piece of steel that's used for signposts. It's about 12 inches long, you could see it resting on a brick. I'm sorry?
Feet, not inches.
Oh, yes, 12, I apologize, 12 feet, yeah, 12 inches would be really good. 12 feet approximately. It is resting on a 4-inch brick, and that is how out of level the floor is in this particular area of the building, that it would be 4 inches and 12 feet. It does continue to go down a little bit, not too much more, in the center of that doorway, but the approximation is 4 inches and 12 feet. Next one, please, Mayor.
Now, is that door still open and closed normally?
We're gonna be going through a lot of these.
Floor and wall is fine.
Okay. So in the center of that, the door is opened about 22.5 degrees, somewhere approximate. And, that's as far as it opens now, based on the fact that the area on the inside has dropped. There you can see the side view of it, the 4 inches. This is some of the deterioration of the basement wall. As far as we can ascertain, the wall was built around 1870 of common stone that was found in the area. It's sometimes referred to as rubble stone, but different type of stone. That area right there in the center, you have the clicker over? Yeah, right in there was, in the previous slide, you saw 2 stones that were sitting on the ground. Those have recently been forced out due to downward pressure and the stones being forced out. Next one, please. This is a picture of that beam that would be directly under where the first picture was taken. The wood beam, as you can tell, has significant cracking in it, and it is supposed to be sitting on that steel beam, which is the black right below that. And then, if you go to the next one, please. That is a picture of a 4-foot level on that steel beam, that it has to be raised approximately 1.5 inches in order for it to be level. I can only assume, I don't know, this is tough based on the picture at the level, but you can see on the bottom how the bubble is in fact in the center. In fact, it probably should go up a hair more, but that's where we are. If you just, so if you go back to the previous one, please. That is that section that we saw in the first picture where the floor is dropping the 4 inches and 12 feet. That's approximately dropped about 1.5 inches and 4 feet. And that is totally sitting on that stone foundation, which we don't know exactly why. It's only assumed that this is because of compression of the stone. And the steel beam itself is sinking. And the previous picture, please. Previous, please. And then the beam that was original to the structure is falling, as well as degrading such that it's carrying no load. You can go forward now, please. This is a picture in that same area. I know it's a little fuzzy, but just showing the outside of the building, the combination of stone and the floor joist on that particular gable side has eroded to the point where we now have exterior openings in the wall system. These are some exterior pics just showing the condition of the roof. That you can see that the roof, especially on the left-hand side there, is falling apart and needs to be replaced. That would be the front entrance of the building. Next one. You can see the siding pulling away from the window on the left-hand side there. This particular one, up on the upper roof, you can see where the pointer is, that the shingles are in fact missing. And if we're able to zoom in, I don't know if we're able to, on the bottom porch, you can see the depression approximately a foot away from that left-hand side where the sheeting is more than likely totally been removed. And I only assuming, I don't know, but guessing that we have water infiltration there as well, which is why we have that condition. Yep. All right, here we once again see the siding is coming out. This would be on the Medford Lakes Road side on the upper window in the center. This is a picture of the window that was in the administrator's office, which is dropping, and you can see in fact the old aluminum siding has in fact separated and is dropping at the bottom but not at the top. I believe that this is part of the balloon frame construction where the bottom and the windowsill is going downwards where part of the upper part is staying attached to the floor joist on the second floor. But that's some of the separation that's occurring as a result of that portion of the building sinking. This is the covered porch on the Medford Lakes Road side at the egress door next to the administrator's office. That should be level with the bottom of the metal, what you see there. It's approximately going up about 3 inches, and the lighting is very bad, but there is no positive connection between this post and the actual structure itself. This is a picture in the attic showing water damage. This has increased a little bit, not a whole lot, but a little bit from 2 years ago when the report was given, or I guess 2.5 years now, when the report was given. But you can see that white, that is from water damage. I believe the next picture will show some of the areas. This was the office directly below on the Medford Lakes Road side where the shingles were missing. We now are having water damage coming through the roof into the attic and down into the office area. This has been relatively new as well. This is one of the main support beams that is being supported in a different area by the steel columns, and you can see this crack, this significant cracking that was not this bad 2.5 years ago when the engineers performed their study. This picture is in here more so for reference. If we were able to go back, it's a little difficult because we don't have 2 screens. But the first picture I showed of the rubble foundation in the very beginning, and maybe Mary Alice can bring that up, is probably like the second or third picture. There it is there. You can see, thank you, you can see the 2 areas that are empty in that particular picture. And if we go back to the one that we just had up, you can see that everything is filled and that there's no vertical cracking within that wall. That's some of the deterioration that has been experienced in the last 2.5 years. Once again, a picture of the outside as well as the deterioration of the beam in that same area. This is hard to see, but this is a wire staple right there that's holding a bunch of fire alarm cable on, and the wire staple has actually pulled out. Are we able to zoom in on that or not? There it is. You can see how the staple itself has literally pulled out of the joist as a result of the sinking of the particular item, where it's just trying to stay up and the wires have tightened and pulled that staple out. Same picture, I think that's just a repeat. And there, if you look there at the center of the chimney there, you can see some of the openings that we are experiencing at the chimney. The flashing at the roof is probably non-existent at that point. This was the temporary walls that were constructed to enable us to get an additional 3 months. You can see the water infiltration there. To my knowledge, we have not had significant rainfall in the last, have we? I don't believe we have. And you can still see how wet the walls are. It is believed that we have just water coming off. I've been told that Medford Lakes Road, the elevation of it has been raised, and now it's creating a situation where the water's draining off of the road and right into our buildings there. This was the foundation once again, and you can see some more deterioration down there as well as the spots where they came out. And this is a close-up, and you can see how bad it is that the actual wire is running underneath where it's supposed to be, the notches, and how far it's actually falling. Another picture of that same thing. This is the most serious damaged area of the entire building. So, once again, this is all the Medford Lakes roadside. This is just an older picture, but it was the main beams that are being supported. If, Mary Alice, you were able to enlarge that right in the center if you can, where the beam is sitting on the wood, probably, and then go up. I don't know if you can or not. You probably can't see it because of the pixelation of it, but on the right-hand side is the only spot where that particular beam is making contact. On the left, that's making contact there. On the left there, I understand it's hard, but you can see it's not making contact there as well as the boards that are laying flat supporting them. You can see that bottom board showing. Right. On the left. Where on the left-hand side, if you could just put it right between those, go down to the right, and then over to the right. Right in there. You can see the gap there that exists where it is not tight, and all of the point load is going down on the one side and not the other. And you can see the bottom board it's just splitting apart from each. I believe that was the question that was asked earlier with the door. This is showing that is the full extent of the door. You could see that in the past it did open, even though it rubbed. You could see just a short period of time ago, there's an indentation of the rug immediately to the right of the door where it sat, and now you can see where it's sitting. Okay, and that's a crack on the back side of the building that is starting to get worse once again. This was taking a little while. Okay?
Thank you.
I think that's it.
The lights back on, please.
Great, thank you so much, Tom.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. All right, so, under the direction of the subcommittee, those who gave preliminary options of what to do with the old building, and they gave us 4 options. The first one is to demolish and remove the old building, which would include disposal of the old town hall, normal foundations and footings, on-site debris above and below ground, backfilling in lower level, and certifying the selected material free of organics to bring it to within 6 inches of final surface grade. There was a survey done back in 2022. There is asbestos containing materials and hazardous material were identified during inspection and verified by testing. So that these costs are just estimates, they're just ballparks right now. So that demolition and removal disposal, including the foundation, 175 to 225,000. some soft costs like bidding, oversight, 25,000, 35,000. Total would be 200,000, 260,000. Also, the township building would have to be closed 2 to 3 days while this was going on. Option 2 is make the building safe or unusable. Make the building safe by reconstructing the foundation and reinforcement of the structure and roof. This would provide the township additional time, approximately 10 to 15 years, to conduct further repairs and improvements to the building and allow it to be safely occupied for limited use. However, at the completion of this option, the building would be restricted for occupancy use only. The improvements would not address code compliance issues of the building. So these are estimate costs again. New building to make repairs, $225,000. Foundation construction, $225,000. First floor reinforcement, $200,000. Roof reinforcement, $160,000. Shingles and flashing, $50,000. Construction cost, $860,000. Soft cost, $137,000 to $206,000, for a total of $997,500 to $1,032,000. The third option would be a complete renovation. To revamp the whole town hall, allowing the building to be occupied for future uses. The renovated town hall would potentially be used as a museum to showcase historical artifacts of Tabernacle Township. This option will also allow limited business use for other occupancy as well. The option would only be allowed to use for the first floor occupancy only. The second floor will be utilized as for HVAC equipment. Renovation would require the completion of option 2 to make the building structurally safe. Option 3 would include moving buildings within the same site to a new location. So the cost again, estimate, the construction cost, $860,000. HVAC replacement, $430,000. Septic installation, $75,000. Well installation, $50,000. Fill the hole, to do that. Electrical upgrades, $75,000. Plumbing upgrades, $200,000. Siding replacement, $100,000. Site work, $300,000. Construction costs, $2,090,000. Soft costs will be $334,000 to $500,000, for a total of $204,24 to $2,590,000. These costs of these options were provided based on the reliability of visible conditions. These exist with these options. Significant chance of exposing unforeseen conditions will increase the cost of all the line items. Could be up to 20–30% more. Option 4 is an alternative to repurposing the existing town hall building. Would be to construct a new building at the village green that will be designed to be visually sympathetic and characteristic to the old building. The one-story building will be constructed on the site and could be used for township groups such as Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, senior groups, historical society, and Pioneers organization. This alternate would include the completion of option 1. Cost would include, again, these are just estimates. Option 1 is $260,000. New building, $1 million. Site work, $300,000. Construction cost, $1,560,000. Soft cost, $233,350. Total of $1.793 million to $1.9 million. Again, these are just estimates of now, and this would be part of phase 3 if you want for this option. Thank you for that. Now, the next thing on the agenda is there'll be public comment. You have forms to make for public comment. Please come up, state your name and address for the record.
Mr. Mayor, members of the committee, Ray Voss, 201 Skylar Court. As you're aware, I live in Seneca Reserve. I'm one of 49 homeowners in that community. I've been a homeowner in Tabernacle Township since August of 2019, and I serve on the board of directors for the Seneca Reserve Homeowners Association. I'm asking you to reconsider and your position on snow removal within Seneca Reserve. As you're aware, the roads located in Seneca Reserve are owned by Rockwell. To my knowledge, they have not been presented to the town for dedication, and they have not been presented to the HOA. When I last spoke to you on January 22nd, at that time we had 2 snowfalls in 2024. Since that time, in the last 5 weeks, we have had 2 additional snowfalls. Rockwell has made the decision affirmatively to stop maintaining the roads, and they refuse to plow these roads. That means every time there's a snowfall, the tax-paying residents of Seneca Reserve are forced to come out of pocket to create safe conditions for the road's public use. The residents of Seneca Reserve pay for these services in taxes. Following public comment at this committee's meeting in January, you held discussion and you asked for advice from your professionals. We appreciate and value the committee's engagement in the discussion that you held regarding plowing Seneca Reserve. The advice you received, however, is only complete if both the possible outcomes but also the likelihood of those outcomes occurring are considered. For example, during last session, the committee asked for an opinion on the risks associated with plowing the roads before public dedication takes place. The committee specifically asked legally, what would be the problem if we went and plowed? And the response provided was, if there was any alleged damage to the roads, the township would be responsible for it and would have no recourse to go after the developer. That is a possible outcome. A plow could damage the road. It could create financial liability on the town to fix the road in the future. But is it a likely outcome? What is the likelihood that could happen? I ask that you ask the next logical question. How often has this historically happened? How often have your plows in the last year, even in the last 10 years, caused damage to a paved roadway on township roads? Especially a newly paved road, which has been recently inspected by engineers and certified as complete. And in the event that damage does occur, that a town plow damages a paved road, if in fact it's ever occurred in the recent past, how much does it cost to make that repair? It's with the answers to these questions that you can make informed decisions that aren't based on speculation or based on remote possibility, but are based on the facts, based on information that you have as township officials within your possession, based on your successful maintenance of all the roads in Tabernacle Township. It's actually quite pleasing to see, as a resident of this community, the praise that community residents give to the Public Works Department for how successfully they clear the roads after a snowfall. It's really honorable. Can you take over the plowing today and the salting in Seneca Reserve? Absolutely, yes, you can. You have the discretion to act here. And as I said last meeting, there continues to be a path of cooperation between the residents of Seneca Reserve and the township that would prioritize the needs of the residents first. If you choose not to hold Rockwell accountable for clearing the roads that they own, then you should send township plows in, knowing what the risks are and accepting those as your own. The residents of Seneca Reserve, they deserve safe roads. They are taxed for the services and they shouldn't be forced to pay for them twice. I appreciate your continued measured response to this, your continued attention and your time today. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Please state your name and address for
Raymond, House of Ward, Tabernacle, New Jersey. I just want to thank everybody. We feel like we have a town again around here. This is the best I've ever seen this look in here. And it's just great to be part of something where everybody wants to move in a positive direction. So, as far as this town hall thing goes, that place looks like it's in really bad shape. And how did it get this bad over the last 2-3 years? Why has it been so neglected? Are the gutters clean? That's where water usually comes from, and your gutters are dirty, where you don't run the water a little away from the foundation, you know what I'm saying? I keep mine clean because I care about my house. And, I consider town hall one of my houses, you know? So, I got something to say here. Thanks for all the Jeep guys coming out here. There's a cease and desist that we sent to everybody for the NJDEP that, I hope you all had a time to, look over. But, I got something to say here about the shared services agreement. The people who hold all political power at all times have peaceably assembled for the common good of Tabernacle, New Jersey, and have served legal notices of maladministration to the trustees so they may provide due care. The shared services agreements are unconstitutional and the conflict of interest have not benefited the people whom you swore to serve. This has been, we talked about this over and over again, we want it changed. How many emails have you all got? Hundreds, from the people that have peaceably assembled, the job forms. The notices were served, have instructed you to end the contracts. You did not respond, therefore you acquiesced. I haven't gotten one affidavit back from any of my trustees. So when I don't get an answer back, that's acquiescing to the terms in it. For your information, I have one of the beneficiaries of the public trust would like to stand on the public record. The request will be submitted to the administrative clerk to include an agenda item for extended open public discussion time concerning town hall affairs and the recent reorganization of the board. So we want that to happen, March 25th, 2024. We will be getting, we'll send an email to whoever the administrative clerk is at the time. So, but yeah, let's get these Jeep guys and all the people that care about the gateway to the Pines, because, nobody has the lawful authority to shut down more of our roads. Even all the stuff they've done in 2015, that was unconstitutional. Nobody had the authority to do it. It's public lands. The people that care about this land, we go out there and clean this place up all the time. There's people are trashing our stuff. It's usually somebody from out of town. You know what I mean? Sam, you know, we take care of this place. We love it here. I love it just as much as you do, my man. I love it. Same as my family. Nobody knows that. We've had some disagreements, but I agree with this man. This is a great place to live, and I look forward to making it better. And this right here needs to keep on happening. Every town needs to start showing up, or you're gonna get run over. You're gonna have a nice town. God bless you all.
Thank you, Mr. Ward, for your comment. Mr. Frank?
Hi, my name is Rick Mason, President of the Tabernacle Historical Society. I have a brief statement I'd like to read tonight. Speaking on behalf of the Tabernacle Historical Society regarding a discussion our organization had relating to the old town hall building. Before a final decision is made on what will happen to the building, many facts and options need to be researched, explored, and considered. We recommend that the Township Committee that the best way to do this would be to form a subcommittee to fully and carefully look at all necessary items to make recommendations as to how to proceed. The subcommittee's function could include recommending a use for the refurbished Old Town Hall, monitoring and report the progress and findings of the engineer's cost analysis that we heard earlier tonight. Reaching out, and this is the most important part, I think, reaching out to the citizens of Tabernacle and civic groups within Tabernacle and engaging them for suggestions and ideas about the future of this building. Based on these discussions and findings, recommendations to the full Township Committee could be made and a pathway taken regarding the future of this great building. Old Town Hall has been a part of the heart and soul of Tabernacle since 1874. It's been the keystone of this town's social and governing events and functions. We must seriously consider keeping it in place and be able to have it continue to serve the citizens of Tabernacle for years to come. In the past, the building has served as a home for the chicken barbecues that date back into the early 1880s. It's been the home of elections that have been held up until recent times. It's been used for dances of the citizens of the area. It's been used for conferences. It's been used for lodge meetings of the Junior Order of United American Mechanics, as well as the PSA, Patriotic Sons of America. So it's had a lot of use. And then I had 4 other things that I think you may know about, but if not, I just want to make sure they're on the record and they're aware of this stuff. The first is something I would volunteer to do, and that is to get the Old Town Hall put on the New Jersey Register of National Historic Sites. It's a possibility. I had a brief discussion with a colleague of mine who actually works with the Pinelands Commission, and he said it would be a great idea to try and get this designated. The next thing I wanted to talk about, the cost of rehabbing, I think, and using the building was in the neighborhood of $3 million. If you do go down that route, please keep in mind that I believe in 26 or 25, 2026 or 2027, or maybe even 2025, the bond runs out on the EMS building. I see I've got 16 seconds left, so I quickly want to say, don't forget that if you do decide to demolish this building, you have to have Pineland's approval to do that, because it's older than 50 years. And there's also a deed restriction on the building that limits to what it can be used, if you're not aware of that. And lastly, speaking not as the president of the Tabernacle Historical Society, but just as a member of the public, I support the chief people who are out here tonight, and I hope that you will at some point be able to pass a resolution and support them also. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, sir.
Please take the name and address for the record.
John Druding, 14 Sun Way. I came here today to ask for your help. I delivered a petition to you that was signed by 121 members of Tabernacle. The petition raised concerns about the DEP's plan to close over half the roads within Wharton State Forest. These closures will have significant impacts to the recreational opportunities in Wharton. These closures will impact hunters, kayakers, and people just cruising the pines. The DEP rolled out the same plan in 2015. It was met by a public outcry, and ultimately the DEP rescinded the plan and apologized. One of the things that made a difference in 2015 was that the municipalities wrote resolutions against these closures. So today in 2024, given that Tabernacle is the gateway to the Pines, I'm asking that the committee support its citizens and write a resolution opposing these road closures. This will cost the township nothing. It would be highly supported, and all the tools and the data you need have been provided to you with the petition. Can I just get a show of hands who's concerned about the roads in Wharton?
Everybody,
Thank you.
everyone.
Well, we do. How many miles were closed down total?
300.
Last time, like, what's gonna be the total?
Well,
So we're gonna do
Mr. Ward, Mr. Ward, yes, sir, same name and address.
Hey, Gary Combs, 34 Grange Road. I'm here to urge the Tabernacle Township Committee to oppose the New Jersey DEP's implementation of the recently proposed visitor vehicle use map of Wharton State Forest. This proposed map is a gross overreach by the NJDEP in its attempt to close over 300 miles of existing roads in Wharton State Forest. The NJDEP claims if this map and subsequent closing of over 300 miles of existing roads is enacted, it will still have approximately 190 miles of roads, approved traversable roads for visitors of Wharton State Forest to travel on. The DEP is not being entirely truthful. By their own admission, they claim by a 2019 map of Wharton State Forest, they had over 600 miles of approved roads. Somewhere in their 2024 map does not add up. What else are they wrong about, and what are they not telling us? The New Jersey DEP claims that this map is enacted and roads are closed, visitors will never be more than 1 mile away from any open approved road. Can you imagine being a hunter, a camper, canoeist, hiker, or other enthusiast, and having to physically take your equipment more than 1 mile to use? It's not only ridiculous, it's very dangerous for some people with a medical issue to do. My direct family settled here in Tabernacle in the mid to late 1800s. I live here, my family lives here, along with many relatives that live, work, and farm here. My grandfather was what was known as a woodsman, gathering sphagnum moss, cutting wood for construction, and firewood. He worked at various mills and farms, providing for his family in the woods that is now known as Wharton State Forest. As a boy growing up here, my father took me to many places in the Pinelands. I can confidently say that I have hunted, fished, canoed, hiked, biked, camped, explored, and enjoyed more places in Wharton State Forest than most people in this meeting can ever imagine. Now, I do agree with the NJDEP that Wharton State Forest needs to be preserved and protected so that all visitors can enjoy the forest. The claimed destruction of sensitive areas needs to be addressed by more enforcement of the existing laws and rules set forth by the NJDEP, not by closing roads that are currently in use. Tabernacle residents, many of whose properties border Wharton State Forest, deserve to be able to travel throughout Wharton State Forest on all the current existing roads, not just a few remaining roads the NJDEP is proposing with the new visitor vehicle use map. I hope that the Tabernacle Township Committee will join other neighboring towns that border Wharton State Forest in not supporting the NJDEP's proposed changes. Thanks.
Thank you for your comment.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
My name is Tim McGarvey. I'm a resident of Chemung, 4 Sandstone Court. First, I want to thank every one of you guys for what you do in serving your community. So I'm here, that's the same, pushing out against the closure and the overreach from the DEP for Wharton State Forest. I'm hoping and praying that you guys can come together and put a resolution. Back in 2015, we went through this before, and we had Medford Lakes, Medford, Pemberton, Waterford, Manchester, North Hanover, Chemung, and East Hampton. I'm hoping, Medford Lakes just did their resolution already, and I'm hoping to see you guys on the list as well. You guys weren't on the list in 2015, you weren't on the list in 2022 for the permits, and I'm hoping to see you guys on the list this year, because that's our gem. We love Wharton State Forest. It's our sanctuary. It's where we go to get away from the everyday crap that we deal with. So please help us in this fight. Also, I do a radio show on Wednesdays on 92.1 WVLT with the New Jersey Project. We're spreading awareness on this. So if anyone wants to feel free to call in and talk about this issue, that would be great. Have a good night.
Thank you, Mr. McGarvey. Thank you. Excuse me.
Good evening. Joe McNally, Flagstone Drive, Tabernacle. I've been here every couple meetings. I've asked a couple times so far, and I know you guys have a lot on your plate. I'm just asking again, have we had any discussion about developing an economic development committee to talk about generating ratables in town?
We talked about, we just, I forget,
So I'm looking at the agenda, and I know you guys are coming across a lot of unexpected expenses here. Number one was the town hall, and I know a lot of other towns are up against this as well with the comprehensive storm management program. For towns that don't have curbs, they're now forced to buy street sweepers, which in here it's anywhere between $190,000 to $290,000. So sometimes we get our backs up against the wall fiscally, and maybe sometimes it's starting to think outside the box of how to generate new revenue in the town. I've spoke to you guys many times about this. There hasn't really seemed to be much open discussion about bringing cannabis to Tabernacle. But one of my operating partners, last year's revenue alone in their hometown in Massachusetts, just the revenue to the township was $1.2 million. Now, I'm not sure what your coffers look like, but I know an additional $1.2 million in your coffers could probably help a lot with the expenses that we're facing now with this town, rather than putting it on the burden of the tax people. So sometimes, again, we're pushed up against the fence and our backs are to the wall. It's time to put our personal preferences aside and do what's best for the township and do what's best for the tax people. Thank you.
thank you.
Hi, Mike Broadbent, Skylar Court, Tabernacle. Last month I came up here and explained the situation that we had going on in Seneca Reserve with regards to Rockwell, the transition, specifically the snow plowing situation that we were faced with. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get the council's support to take over their services. We weren't even able to get council to take a vote as to whether or not they wanted to take over their services.
this is Craig, I believe it was you who said that we should be answering and addressing, these questions when they're brought up, by residents within the town. I appreciated the conversation that you had, but I would definitely would have appreciated to know where each and every one of you stand on those issues. Would have given us and the residents a better idea of where we were with council. It's my understanding that council is reluctant to take it over because they don't want to partially transition anything, and that the hold up in the transition, is in fact the basins. I understand that Rockwell's been out there. Rockwell did not inform us that they were coming out, but my understanding that this was agreed upon between all of the attorneys who have been involved, that they were supposed to notify us of any work that was going to be performed, in the community. That did not happen. We did not know they were coming out. We did not prepare for it. We did not have anybody out there to approve the work that was being done. Additionally, in terms of the performance of the basin, I know the engineer who was here last time is not here today. I believe it is that engineer's decision as to whether or not their work is complete. So we don't have the ability to communicate with that individual as to what has been done, and then whether or not it's been his satisfaction. I would like to add that over the last 5 years that basin's been there, I have 4 emails from Rockwell acknowledging that the basin was not performing and that they needed to have their engineers, and actually a different engineer, and then their engineer back again to reevaluate the rear basin with regards to its performance because it was not performing. I question whether or not CME's engineer is aware of those situations, the work has been done, what work had to be done, and how the basin should be performing. If anything's being done other than just a visual eye test. We want the township to take over. We want this transition to be complete. We want Rockwell gone. We want the work done right. We don't want there to be a problem in the future with the residents or the township. Believe me, if we want them gone, we want you guys plowing our streets, everybody to move on. I'm just urging you, when the engineer comes back and says everything's good, ask questions. Ask him how he verified it, ask him if he's aware of all of the rework, ask him if he has everything documented over the past 4 years. Because we've asked Rockwell 20 times for all those items. They've been reluctant to provide us any of the work that's been done over the last 4 years. Please get it for us, because we're gonna need it if that basin fails. Thank you.
Can I interrupt real quick, Mayor, if I may?
Sure.
Because I'm not sure who else is here from Seneca. We have received the paperwork, everything has been approved.
What's been
Agenda-
approved?
The basins,
The basins have been approved.
yes, sir.
I would love it if the engineer was here so he could tell us how, he came to that conclusion.
We can get that next meeting, that's perfect.
Yeah, we can certainly,
So next meeting, we'll have to get.
so, I mean, everything is ready to move. We'll have the engineer we have a workshop meeting next month, so it's March 11th. So we'll have it's Mr. Gray from CMA, we will have him here, he can explain everything. But, I don't wanna speak for committee, but I anticipate everything moving forward at that meeting.
The releasing of the bond at that meeting?
The releasing of the bond and an ordinance to introduce, an introduction ordinance to dedicate the roads back to the township. Now, that does take 2 readings.
And Mike, we were this close, but we didn't get the report until late Friday night, to get it done for today, so it's gonna be 2 weeks.
I appreciate that. I would just say, please make sure that everything that's been done over the last 4 years, that he's aware of it and
Yep, we'll have to hear the next meeting.
that kind of checked out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Didn't mean to interrupt, just thought I might be able to clear up a few people.
Good evening, Dr. Maria Schulteis, 298 Toranza Road. And I'm actually here also in follow-up to a discussion that we had started back in October 23rd. Back in October 23rd, we came here on the suggestion of then Mayor Sammy Moore to present a proposal that was an opportunity for this town to safely pilot, and explore the growth, just the growth of cannabis here within Tabernacle at Schulteis Farm, retaining the agricultural nature of the business, retaining the majority of the business remaining as a farm, just changing our crop. We specifically presented this proposal because it was in line with 2 key things. One, the financial needs of this town. And we've heard here today the expenses that are coming forward, that are proposed. There were expenses at the time for other needs of the town. So there is a financial need, and we were proposing an alternative to meet that financial need, or to help that financial need. And then not put the burden on, again, the taxpayers of Tabernacle. The proposal was also consistent with the voice of the people of Tabernacle. Since the last vote that inquired about whether cannabis would be welcome or accepted or should be allowed in Tabernacle was actually positive, almost a 2-to-1 for the Tabernacle voters in favor of this. But yet, the committee has an ordinance that denies all and any type of cannabis industry here in Tabernacle. So my question and why I am here today is very simply this. Since October 23rd, I have reached out to multiple individuals to try and get a response to our proposal. We were told at the end of our proposal that the committee would have a discussion about it. The only response that I have gotten is a copy of the ordinance that says basically, our ordinance says no. I'm standing here asking what is the rationale behind that. I would like, and I have repeatedly requested, the committee's documented response of their discussion of what the reason was for this decision. Because financially it makes sense, and it is in line with the vote of the people of Tabernacle. Which, if I cannot get or cannot understand what the rationale is, leads me only to believe that it is personal decisions and personal choices that have voted against this, which I really would hope that the committee is not how they make their decision. I know the committee has spoken about being transparent, about being open and clarifying their position on things. So that is why I'm here, to invite the committee to attend. Please be transparent on your decision making for this proposal. That's all that I'm asking. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Please state your name and address for the record.
Lance Saunders, Valerie Way, Seneca Reserve. I want to say thanks to Mary Allison Brown. You guys got my letter last meeting. I wasn't able to attend. Along with my fellow residents, I appreciate the update on that. So 2 of the things that I just wanted to point out, I'm assuming that with our bill list by vendor, as CME, it states the engineering for Seneca Reserve for $1,000. So I'm assuming that's the work that we're saying that was just done? No, that was for something?
I don't know exactly. We'll wait until the end
Okay.
of your comment. Go ahead.
All right, because I'm just looking at the date of it, which was after last month's meeting, so I was wondering if that's what we're saying, he went back out there and checked the basin out. And the second thing, I also wanted to point out that for our snow removal, when we say the township, does the public works, or do we contract with B&B landscaping to do that? As far as snow plowing and something?
Go ahead and finish your comment.
Okay, so,
I'll
yeah,
respond to
okay, so the way I'm reading it, yeah, no worries. So the way I'm reading it, it's B&B landscaping. So just like our community, we contract with our landscaper to do the exact same thing. But since you have positive news, no need for me to continuously beat it up about making sure that our tax dollars go to, for our snow removal. Because I would be like, if you just had B&B do our snow removal and cut them a check from our taxes, that would be great. I think one of the concerns that our president is speaking of as well with the basins, and I think it's so important that we make sure good judgment requires accurate information. I'll say it again. Good judgment requires accurate information. All right? Thank you.
Thank you for your comment.
All right.
Yes, hold on one second. Yes.
Mr. Saunders,
Yes.
the bill list, I don't have the invoice here with me, I'm not exactly positive what that expense is for. I know the paperwork, as Ms. Stone said, was just received Friday, so I think that was probably for work he did maybe a month and a half ago. For B&B, we contract with B&B. If there's a large storm, we call them in. If it's something that our public works thinks they need a couple extra guys to help plow snow. And then, during that storm, the public works supervisor breaks the town down into a grid, and each person is assigned a grid. So it's not necessarily that B&B is assigned to you, or that Public Works doesn't take care of your town. If it's a small storm, and Public Works may not even bring B&B in. It depends on the severity of the storm and the breakdown during that storm of who does where.
Good evening.
Name, address, direction.
Yeah, my name is Jason Howell, and I'm with Pinelands Preservation Alliance, and we represent dozens of members in Tabernacle Township and thousands in the Pinelands and the rest of New Jersey. I'm here tonight to discuss the Wharton State Forest visitor use map. And, you know, in any big area, any big state park like Wharton, I mean, it's an amazing resource that we have here. It's unique in the world, both in its biology and its geology. We have intermittent ponds formed by glacial wind tens of thousands of years ago. Dunes where endangered species like pine snakes, Pickering's morning glory, wetlands where the endangered swamp pink flower, bog asphodel, and many, many other rare orchids and plants grow. It's really a special thing that we have here in the Pinelands. And like any big state park, it needs to have a map, a visitor map. Any big national park even. Without a map, people don't know how to get from A to B safely, responsibly, and that's really what the department, the Park Service is trying to do. How do you produce an accurate and reliable map that everyone can use and know how to get from point A to point B, what they can do there, and do it in a way that's responsible. It's not going to make the place tear up the roads, tear up the wetlands, tear up those special places that we all really love and enjoy. And you know, the original map for Wharton is right here. So this is from 1966, and this was the original visitor map given out at Batso. This map is nearly identical to the draft map that's being given out, or the comment period is underway right now by the Park Service. It's nearly identical. So you have to have a visitor map. What's on the map? Well, that's where the public comment, the public process comes in. And that's what's happening right now. There's a public process underway where people are welcome to provide their input, provide their comments. And just like in a township, if you have a bridge that falls in on one of your roads, you cannot open that up to the public for safety reasons. Now, there's only so much money to go around, and I know the Park Service is trying to fix these things. We're meeting with the governor's office to try to get more money for maintenance, for park police, for forest fire service. And, you know, right now I think, for me, the best thing I can recommend people to do is provide those comments. What do you use specifically? Because I know every single inch of that state forest, and I'm commenting on those places I use and those places where, you know, maybe there's a bridge that's out, and maybe that needs to be fixed. But I appreciate your time, thank you for your work, and have a good evening.
Thank you for your comment. Anyone else like that? Public comment? Oh, I'm sorry, I told him. Well, I didn't see.
Sportsman Road. What work has been done to stabilize Town Hall in the last 50 years? The holes in the foundation that Mr. Boyd said needed immediate action, they look like the same holes that were shown in the 2021 assessment. And I think that's also true for the roofing issues that you pointed out today. It would be a bitter pill to learn that the property has degraded significantly since 2021, when we were told it needed work. Two, I would urge you regarding Old Town Hall not to rush into a decision tonight. This is a rare resource and requires the fullest degree of public involvement. You really do need good information. You really do need to know all the options. A dedicated subcommittee like Mr. Francis suggested is a good idea. I support that. Our master plan calls for keeping the historical flavor of the Pinelands Village. And Town Hall, as you know, was built in 1874. It's one of the few buildings of its kind in the country, and it's the center of our village. And it's bad enough that you're moving the municipal seat from the village to a remote site without much visibility. It's a bad idea that you didn't reinforce the village by buying Sequoia. That would have cost far less than we're building on the new complex. Demolition of Town Town Hall would be the third step backwards from the master plan, and a giant one at that. I'd like to know what other options the subcommittee considered, because option number 4, the building a smaller building, wasn't part of the scope of the work that we had from last meeting. So I'd like to know what other options you considered, and there are probably other options still that are out there. Option 4, I don't believe is a good option. Its cost, which includes demolition, is almost the same as renovation. So why spend the same money to demolish a real 19th century building in order to build an out-of-scale modern substitute? The report says the new building could be visually sympathetic, but once you demolish Old Town Hall, there's nothing left to be visually sympathetic to. And a single-story building isn't going to be visually consistent in mass, scale, or shape with Old Town Hall. And those differences won't be correctable by using sympathetic windows or sympathetic fixtures or whatever else that term encompasses. The inconsistency is really just too great. It's the similar inconsistency that we have by continuing to call this site the Village Green with an E, and I've beaten this drum before. This is a 19th century space. The silent E is that 14th century practice. The fabric of the village is strong enough to be historically vibrant without concocting the village green with a silent E. But if you really want to imitate history, like building a one-story building to replace a 19th century building, why don't you call the site Ye Old Village Green? That way you get 4 words, each of which ends with an E. That's sarcasm. If you want to do history, do it right. Realize what you have out there, because what you have out there is pretty special. I'd also like to know more about the deed restrictions on the use and reuse of the building or the site. Last, different subject, what's the status of the repairs of the Carranza Road Bridge just north of Moores Meadow Road? That's been out for a year, I think. Last, regarding resolution 2024-46, the shared services agreement with Pemberton, is there enough time in the day for Mr. Boyd to do that work and his work in Tabernacle, Woodland, and Southampton Township? And are you doing a cost-benefit analysis? Because I sure would like to see one. Thank you very much. I look forward to your answers.
Anything else? Sure.
Good evening. Thank you. My name's Ron Wiggins, Pound Place. Appreciate you guys' time tonight to hear me out and hear me speak. I am here also urging Tabernacle to support a resolution against the road closures in Borden. I'm a hunter. I volunteer with New Jersey Federation of Sportsmen. I'm a member of NJOA. I speak to a lot of different user groups. And I've also attended the open house that they presented at Benso. I ask questions. I always like to make an informed decision. I understand some of the challenges that face Borden. However, the philosophy of closing the roads to address those issues will not fix those issues, and it will only hamper access to all those innocent folks out there that are law-abiding, that are conservationists, that love their time in the woods. I moved to Tabernacle because I love the pine barrens. We all do. I wouldn't be here. So believe me, if I wouldn't be promoting something that would damage the pine barrens that I love. All right, so I'm going to be before you all tonight urging the resolution against the plan. What I have seen is within the user groups, so especially having visibility with the Federation, with the NJOA and so forth, what you're starting to see now is you're starting to see pockets. You're starting to see haves and have-nots. All right, so you're ultimately going to have, well, you know, maybe we'll just have the roads open for hunting season, and then we'll close them for the rest of the year. All right. I have met so many different folks that represent equestrians, kayakers, outdoors people who love outdoors, love exploring. You know, that's you're creating a system of haves and have-nots. I don't believe that that's the intention of our state forest. I want to add, it's not a park, it's a state forest. It is our state forest. And they're trying to redefine it as a park. It's not a park, it's our forest. And I urge Tabernacle to join us in the resolution against this plan, because I would have not been convinced through my conversations, especially with Commissioner Cecil, and so forth. You know, it was interesting. So I reviewed their plan, and ultimately, we went through a process, all right, where they learned from 2015 that, you know, we have to have stakeholders, all right? We have to have a certain process, all right? But ultimately, we still ended up in the same exact place. Like, the map is identical to 2015. And what was interesting was that they're proposing of opening a stretch of road. Now, this road is a road that I have historically in the past, for several years now, fought to open, okay? And I won't go into details here, but there's a quagmire, a legal quagmire as far as townships are concerned, counties and so forth, which is why this road was never opened. So no one would touch it with a 100-foot pole. Now, all of a sudden, they're like proposing, well, you know, we're gonna open that up. So I questioned on that. And the response I got was that, well, this is all preliminary, and this is all like negotiating. So to me, that's not proving any of these road closures. They didn't plead their case. They didn't make their case. Quite frankly, you can't justify it by just saying, well, what would you like to have in it? I mean, to me, that doesn't sound like it's science-based. That doesn't sound like it's environmentally based. It's like, well, we just want to close roads, and you just tell us which ones. It's very twisted psychology, I guess, to it, philosophical, right? I'm not the best speaker, so I'm a little nervous up here, but I urge and implore you to support what the citizens want. All right, we overwhelmingly. I've sat through meetings with the hunting clubs, with Open Trails New Jersey, with just talking to neighbors, going to other townships. Overwhelming support. All right, but overwhelmingly, people around there, they want these roads open. They don't want it closed. It's not the solution. One last thing as I run out. I want just one second, just real quick. Is this important?
Thank you, sir. We have 4 minutes. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. All right, thanks.
Let him speak.
I should be allowed to speak, but.
He has something to say. This is very important.
Fran Brooks, Morris Meadow Road. I'm gonna raise some issues regarding items on the agenda. To begin with, it has to do with the TAA, the Tabernacle Athletic Association fees. You're developing an ordinance. Will you be specifying who will have to pay these fees? Will the fees be paid to the township, or will the TAA receive any of these monies? One of the things I'd like to point out is that the TAA, we meaning the taxpayers, built their snack stand, but we get no money from their snack stand. All the money goes to TAA, and it's time for that type of practice to start, because for years, taxpayers have supported to their detriment, TAA. And in particular, they have monies to allocate to scholarships. They should be able to support and allocate monies to the township. The other part of this issue, this ordinance, has to do with the provision, which I've spoken about previously, about employees be paying their continuing education courses, including township officials who resign early in their tenure, who should also be paid the cost of all their continuing education classes. Mr. Balls is a perfect example of the fact that we paid for his fees and he walked off the job within 2 or 3 weeks, something like that. It's long overdue. A provision needs to be put into the personnel manual that requires that employees compensate the township residents for the fees, all the taxes we have paid for those. This is nothing personal, Ms. Amato. I'm just saying, Ms. Amato received a sweet deal on her contract, but at the expense of Tabernacle taxpayers. So all you have to do is look at her contract and study it a little bit and see the nuances and come up with a better deal for Tabernacle Township. The other question I have regarding the agenda is, what is the geographic information systems meeting about that was held between, or will be held between Engineer Lessie and Barclays Phillips? Are we getting involved in a new project? Are the road projects that Tabernacle is following based on the road evaluation plan that was adopted by previous committees, or is there a new plan that should be made available? Regarding your shared service agreement with Medford Lakes, We're paying a lot of money for that 3-year shared service agreement. Is it possible that a more economical way of building a courtroom in the public, in our new town facility, with bond monies may turn out to be a better deal than having to rent space from another township? And the street sweeper issue, that report is deficient in covering all the variables that should be covered. How many roads are there that have to be cleaned in Tabernacle? How long does it take? It's not just a matter of money, but it's a question of how long are roads, the miles of roads, and the time it's really gonna take to clean those roads, before you start talking about what, it's gonna cost us, because there's just no nuance to that memo, and you folks need to put better memos together. I'm also wondering if the committee could get more involved in litter pickup issues and encouraging residents of Tabernacle to go out and pick up litter on the roads, because there's a ton of litter on the roads. It's not covered by our Clean Communities program, and basically, there are no letters going out to residents to help assist with the pickup of litter, which also bears on the cleaning of the streets. Those are the main issues.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
The last one,
William Redmond, 23 Hawkins Road. Just here to ask you guys to pass a resolution against the DEP road closures. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Dave Dempsey, I'm the founder of Open Trails New Jersey. I'm also on the board for Township Environmental Commission. I would just like to say that I'd appreciate if you guys do pass a resolution against the DEP closures. And I would like to thank all of you guys who spoke up, including Jason Howe. I do believe we have something special back there. I do believe that we do need a map out there. However, not as restrictive as what we're seeing. There are roads, paper roads, that don't even exist, where there's literally 24-inch trees growing in the middle of them. I'm not looking to have them open. I'm looking to have what we've had since 1953 on the USGS maps remain open. 1 year before the state acquired the state forest. And I believe by saying that, I'm speaking for the majority at that point. If you guys do pass a resolution, there's now a petition with over 4,800 signatures on it that will support you. There are multiple townships that will support you. You will not be the only one. There's 2 congressmen that will also support you, and multiple senators that will support you. You will not be in the minority. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Anyone else like to make a comment?
Good evening, my name is Lynn Hedman, President of the Tabernacle Athletic Association. I would like to just address public comment made about TLA paying to use the fields and facilities in Tabernacle were primarily made up of taxpayers. The snack stand, the concession stand at Hywoka Road was built from county grants. We applied for one. We were denied. All the other townships got money, or many other townships got money. We applied again, and in the second pass of the community grants that were being granted by the county, we were awarded a grant, and we used that money to do some of the excavation, some of the foundation work. But the little known fact about the concession stand is the number of community volunteer contractors and experts that donated time and materials to complete that project, well and above the money that we were granted by the county. TA currently pays the light fee. When we use lights on the field, we pay for the gas in the building, all of the appliances in the building, and the countertops were purchased by TAA. TAA buys all the food that we sell in the snack stand. We buy all the paper products and cleaning products. We work in the snack stand as volunteers. I personally have cleaned the public bathrooms 98% of the time. So, just the suggestion that the township residents and our volunteers, we're an all-volunteer organization. I work at least 20 hours a week at no cost to the township to organize youth athletic activities for all the children in the town. Charging us more to use facilities that we built, with lots of effort and county grants, like all the other towns got county grants to develop their parks and facilities. But that's not what I was here to talk to you about. It just is unconscionable to me that people think that somehow the volunteers should give more when we live here and we do field maintenance and improvement projects on our parks all the time that we just never get credit for. We own our own equipment. We pay for our own storage containers. So we function pretty independently of the township. The thing the township does pay for is the Tabernacle Athletic Association's accident and health insurance and general liability policy. And they have done that since Rick Franzen was the president of TAA in the 70s. This is nothing new. So other than that, TAA is financially independent, and the township has to keep up the parks, and we try to partner with them to do that. I have submitted paperwork to the town that says that the insurance would cost more if TAA was not a primary user of the fields. The township insurance broker has provided that documentation multiple times. I'll move on. I'm here to just announce that a family in Tabernacle, in remembrance of Rick Sozio, who was a baseball director from 2010 to 2012, and then the vice president of TAA from 2012 to 2014. He died last year, and they would like to memorialize him by donating a scoreboard to Field 1 at Patty Boker. It's beautiful. I have a drawing of it here for you to look at. TAA is going to pay to run the electric service so that won't cost the township anything. We feel that the current electrical service may have been interrupted or cut, so we're not sure, but TAA will pay for that to be done, and have a beautiful new scoreboard on Field 1 that the boys and the girls use all year round. So I'll
Let's hold it up.
Yeah, can you hold it up, show the public, show us the public, please?
Oh, that's beautiful.
That is nice, yes. So it'll provide like a marker to show where Patty Boker Field is. And it's George and Mary Ann Kennedy are donating the scoreboard.
Mary Alice, do you think we can stand that up somewhere so the public can see it when they're finished, or?
Here or in municipal hall?
No, well, in the municipal hall, but here also, just so the public, because I'm sure over there they can't see it too well at this distance. Maybe we would just set it up somewhere, some chairs.
But this takes 12 to 15 weeks to make, so we won't be able to have it done in time for opening day, but with the township's approval, they said they could order that tomorrow. And they'll do the installation, TAA will pay for the electric line, and then we'll have a beautiful new board at the park.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
If I can add on to Lynn's comment, that is a Wi-Fi enabled scoreboard. We are working with Comcast. I have gotten our IT provider involved. It looks like it's pricey to run Wi-Fi to it, because there is no service out there. But it is something we're looking into, but for right now, we figured let's just get it up and get the electric, and they can manually control it rather than through their phone.
Yeah, sir.
I'm Donald Gerber, one of the few maybe in this room that are from this town, but my father, my grandfather, and my great-grandfather lived here, had farms, raised families, etc. And my grandfather and my father joined the Junior Order of the United American Mechanics, and I came in right shortly thereafter. Many people don't know anything about it, and yet that building was built by us, and it was built to serve the community, and it did. The order, forgive me because my eyes are going, the Order of United American Mechanics was founded July 8th of 1845. The Junior Order of United American Mechanics was formed May 17th, 1853. New Jersey State Legislature chartered was obtained February 25th, 1875 for the State Council of New Jersey. At their 50th anniversary that was held, they had 316 councils, 71,953 members, and a worth of $1,761,304. By the 100th anniversary, that was severely diminished. 70 councils, 2,649 members, and about $500,000. The deed for the building was dated one deed was dated September 9th, 1851, and that was for an old meeting house. And the deed was dated in July 21st, 1861, for the building of a school. Some may remember, but the school was in the existing parking lot. And that was just a two-room school, which later on was taken by horse and buggy over to where it was built, over near the other farm over there, and it was raised up, floors put underneath of it, and that was the original building, and then it went on from there, being added on as was needed. But that's where that building originated, and we allowed that to be there. And then December 15th, 1936, from the Board of Education to the Township of Tabernacle, on to the trustees of the Tabernacle Council, number 49 of the Junior Order of United American Mechanics. And I have here the original indenture of what was used in the transfer of the building from Tabernacle Council 49 to the Township, in which I just want to mention one thing that it says. It says, reserving to the grantors, that would be the Junior Order, the right to hold not in excess of 2 lodge meetings per month in the building now erected on said premises, and subject further to the express conditions that the lands hereby conveyed are conveyed to the Township for use as a municipal building and site for municipal building for other municipal purposes. This took place September 15th, 1966, when we handed over the building. And since then, it has been noted as a historic site in the township. I don't know if Rick Franson mentioned that or not, but what that means is that it's to be maintained and preserved. There are only four locations in the township that were deemed as historic properties, and the town hall was one of them. Our group is small now, but we were still meeting in the town hall until COVID hit, and then, of course, we were restricted from meeting in there. But we still meet on a monthly basis, as we're supposed to, and I am a member of the State Council of New Jersey as well, and we are an active group in different ways. We give scholarships, and the State Council does things in different positions around the county and around the state. And this building is, to us, the heart of Tabernacle. It's part of us. We grew up here, no matter which direction you came into town, here was Town Hall.
Thank you, Mr. Gerber, for your comment. Thank you. You have 4 minutes to make your comment. Thank you.
What?
Thank you for your comment. You have 4 minutes to make it.
I'm out of time?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Ryan Jeffrey, House of Sherry, Hill Road. So I stand here as one of the people, outlined Article 1, Paragraph 2 of the New Jersey State Constitution. I watched several of you swear an oath to that Constitution just a little over a month ago, whether you were switching roles or obtaining new roles. This meeting started with a slideshow that I saw as blatant evidence of maladministration. You were entrusted to do your business, do our business, out of a building that you neglected, let run astray, abandoned. It reflects on a lot of the decisions that have been made around here. I've been showing up here since around July of last year, pretty much every meeting. I've witnessed countless dangers of maladministration. You guys have received some paperwork outlining the details of that, have you not? And again, we the people hold all political power. You swore to this. I want to remind you guys, when you swear an oath, you evoke the Most High, you evoke a deity. It's an act of religion. You understand that? You are asking the Most High to come into your decision making, meaning that you are not, if you are not in alignment with the trust indenture as our servants, okay? You're the trustees, our servants, for us, the sole beneficiaries of this contract, okay? I saw here tonight countless people instructing our governance of how you are to act. So let's see how this roadmap in the woods works out, guys. You were overwhelmingly told what to do by your constituents, were you not? I witnessed it. I think everybody here did too. It would be disgraceful to see you guys not act in accordance with the people. On that matter and many other matters, this town hall, we had 2 gentlemen very abreast of the history here. It's a bit more than sentimental, is it not? Is this not obvious? The people have spoken. I attest that all of us have said our piece, and we expect you guys to act in accordance with the contract that you've sworn an oath to do. Okay, so I thank you for your service. I look forward to you making your decisions in accordance with your oath. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else want to get help,
I
Ron?
think your timer is
We don't even need that anymore.
Please state your name and address for the record, please.
William McNally, 72 Woodside Drive. Like many of the people here, I'm a lifelong member of this community and plan to be for the foreseeable future. And my kids plan to be also. Which is why the protection of Wharton State Forest is an important thing to me. And that's why I think that the Township Committee here needs to pass a resolution, put forward and pass a resolution to stop the DEP from putting forth their agenda. The proposals that they have will do nothing to stop the abuses that already exist in the forest. There are already rules and regulations that exist to stop the people that are doing the things and the damage to the forest, and they fail to enforce them now. Adding more rules and regulation just means they have more to enforce and they cannot do it. They add no additional enforcement. That was cited in the survey that was taken that the DEP has chose to ignore. I'm asking that the township do like many of the surrounding townships have done in the past and in this round of problems, and put forward and pass a resolution to oppose the DEP's plan to close almost 300 miles of roads that they acknowledge existed when they applied for a grant for money to improve those roads and acknowledge them as being usable roads. So I look forward to the committee's passing of this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. What else, Mr. Public comment?
Wood, Ken Mayer Drive in Tabernacle. I have no intention of coming up here to speak, but I wanted to make 2 points. Lynn Hedden from TAA, we were in TAA together. She's been out, our kids are 31 years old. She's still a president of TAA. Everything she said stands true because I was there 20 years ago when it all happened. So I support everything that she said. Secondly, I don't know anything about all this road stuff, but I want to say from an EMS perspective, it would be great with this map situation because I've seen medic trucks sunk in holes, not being able to get to the people. We had somebody yesterday who was out in the woods. We were trying to get to I was listening to the radio, they were trying to get to them. They had no idea how to get to them. There were roads closed. There was, I don't know, I don't think the person made it. I've had to truck at least a mile in because a bridge is closed or there's a tree over top. So a map, I don't know if you're against the map, I'm not sure like what is going on, but it would be really good for you guys to have EMS personnel to know what the heck we're doing when we get out there, because I'm not a woods person, but I love living here. So that's it, thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Wood. Thank you for your comment. Anyone else would like to make public comment?
Hi, how's everybody doing? My name is Bruce Pittman, 27 Lakeview Drive. I just want to let you know I'm 62 years old and I've been going down the pines for all my life. My father used to take us out there, used to hunt out there for a week at a time, used to camp out there and hunt with his buddies. They had the on-off-road motorcycles with tags. They used to go out to their stands from their campsites and go out there. A lot of these guys I know are hunters, love hunting. If you shut down a lot of the access to those areas out there, you're gonna be overrun with deer and other animals, coyotes. There's a lot of them out there now, and you're gonna have a problem. You're gonna be hitting them on the roads and all that stuff. Now, I took my son out there riding. My dad took us out there riding around, and it would be a shame, be a damn shame if my son can't take his kids out there driving around. And part of the fun of going out there is getting lost. Fill the tank up with gas and go. That was a lot of the fun going out there. We used to ride our dirt bikes out there, we had a lot of fun. And I'm sure that can carry on if you let it happen. Do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Would anyone else like to make public comment?
Hi, my name is Heather McGarvey. I'm your neighbor from Chemung. I live on 4 Sandstone Court. I'm also with the New Jersey Project, which we are supporting open trails. So right now we are in the most taxed and overregulated state in the nation. People have had enough. We're tired of government overreach. This map does nothing to save anyone from anything. If you have the ambulance that has to walk a mile to get somebody in the woods because you've taken away that road, that helps no one. They're going from 500 to 200 miles. So we were actually at a meeting where a man got up who was 86 years old and has been hunting the same blind for, hunters know what that is, for people that don't, somewhere they go and they hide and shoot things. So this man is now 86 years old, and the road they want to take out will make it where he has to walk 1.4 miles. He is a walker. That is a disgrace. The only thing we have left now against the government overreach coming down from Trenton is our local elected officials, and that's you guys. And you can stand up for all your people and the people here in the Pines and say, enough, no more. This is our area. Trenton, they have no idea what's going on down here. They're talking about, you know, all 500 miles of road is less than 1% of Wharton State Forest. So they're not doing anything. It's not going to affect wildlife. It's not going to make anything better. I mean, we have people that cut trees down and block roads already. It all comes back to enforcement is the main issue here. So I hope that you guys, because that's your job, is you're our only voice for the people that live here to the state, to tell them that we have had enough. We don't need you here and we don't want you here. The DEP is not elected positions. They're all appointed by people that aren't from here. You are the voice of these people. And I hope that you will do the right thing and write a new resolution that says that you stand with your residents, your hunters, your kayakers, your horseback riders. They're the people that are paying the taxes here. You know, it's just not fair to take one more thing from people that are so overtaxed already. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? All right, let's close public comment. I would like to take, we could take a 5-minute break. Use the restrooms. Roll call.
Mr. Spratt. Yes. Mr. Moore.
Yes.
Ms. Stone.
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes. Approval of the 2022, January 2022, 24 executive session. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Any second?
I'll second.
Roll call.
Mr. Spratt.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes.
Ms. Stone.
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes. Submission of bills and claims for $3,771,613.76. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Mr. Spratt.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes.
Ms. Stone.
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes. All right, new bills, new business ordinances, first reading, ordinance 2024-1, change of street name.
Mayor, if I can jump in on that very quickly. I have spoken with all outside agencies, fire, EMS, 911, all that. We are good to go with the introduction. I received 2 very supportive emails from residents, very appreciative of yours and Ms. Stone's time going out and visiting them that day, and just the township supporting them in this change. I just need a motion to introduce ordinance 2024-1 and to authorize me to do all things legal and necessary.
Get a motion?
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
Roll call.
Mr. Spratt?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Ms. Stone?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes. Okay. Discussion of the Old Town Hall. Would like anyone to discuss it? Clean it up, public options?
Yes, I have some comments. First off, I'm very disappointed that we had another study with the town hall. That, nothing is gonna happen with that until 2-3 years down the road. So 2-3 years from now, somebody's gonna say, oh, we have to find out what's going on, and we're gonna spend more money. The money that was just spent for that study is a waste, in my opinion, just my opinion. I know there's been a lot of talk about a subcommittee. This deputy mayor and Mr. Mayor, last meeting, the subcommittee was formed for the new building. We made a motion that there was going to be a report monthly on the new building. Is there going to be a report?
Right now, we're in wait mode for the finance, our application's been sent in, we're just in wait mode. I have a call in the next week to see where we're at, stand at, in order of getting it moved forward.
So that is your report.
For right now, yes. There's nothing really new to report on it right now.
Okay. I am, once again, you guys are subcommittee for the new building. There's no subcommittee for the old building. Yet you assumed you were going to just do it on your own. As a subcommittee, form your own subcommittee to do on phase 3. That, it's just, that's not how things should be done. It should be done, you make a motion for a subcommittee for phase 3. And, I would make the motion, that we would form that subcommittee. Noble's not here. Noble and I have discussed this at great length. We want the town to be involved with it. We want, church groups, we want civic groups, we want, input from a lot of different people, from the residents themselves, which is not happening on phase 1. Phase 1 is just it's one and done, and we're going. She wants phase 3 to be held different. From the responses you have to the people that spoke out tonight, they want the same thing. And I don't know if I can make a motion for this.
Well, no, I need to correct the record. Hold on. The minutes from last meeting reflect that the subcommittee that you formed was to discuss the use of the current and old municipal building. Specifically, whether it's to use first floor only, to occupy the entire space, or not to occupy it all and just to refurbish it. So I, not disagreeing or agreeing with anything you said, just to correct for everybody here, the minutes reflect that that motion that you made was actually to address issues with Old Town Hall, as well as the new building which is currently before Pinelands.
Well,
pursuant to the minutes that were just approved.
I'm old and I'm senile, but that was not the conversation that we had. We were talking about, the money that's been spent for phase 1, and there's been nothing to show for it, that we needed a subcommittee for that. If I included the other ones, believe me, I excluded because I didn't want that.
No, and I understand, but the committee also authorized the study at the last meeting not to exceed $5,000. Again, in the minutes that were just approved.
That's absolutely correct. And I'm just stating my position, that I think that was, it was a waste of money because we're gonna have to do it again in 2 or 3 years.
I just wanted it to be clear that the subcommittee was formed for both the new building and pursuant to the minutes, unless the minutes need to be corrected.
Go ahead.
Where's Mr. Boyd? Any other room? Oh, there he is. Oh, there he is in the back. Mr. Boyd, could you come up here a minute?
Yes.
Please, if you don't mind. Because I got a couple questions I'd like to ask if possible. This is been deemed an unsafe structure, sir, correct?
That is correct, February 2012.
So, in order, however the committee feels, and I'm one voice here to go whatever direction we may have to go or think, what is our timeline factor with the building, the way it's degrading even more, coming down, before it comes to a point? I don't think this can wait years by the sounds of it, to form subcommittees to do this. I'm not sure, I'm asking because I'm not the professional.
Sure. If I may have the liberty to read exactly out of the code.
Yes, go for it, please.
All builders, excuse me, this NJAC 5:23-2.32, unsafe structures. This is part of the Uniform Construction Code. All buildings or structures that become unsafe or unsanitary, or that contain deficient or blocked exitway facilities, or which constitute a fire hazard, or are otherwise dangerous to human life or the public welfare, or that by reason of illegal or improper use or occupancy shall be deemed unsafe buildings or structures, shall be taken down and removed or made safe and secure. It has to be one of the other, be either made safe and secure or taken down. That is a choice that this committee has to do. This has been over 2 years that it's been known. The building is going to continue to deteriorate. One of the reasons that this became an issue, quite frankly, was there was a Miami condo building collapse that occurred shortly before the study that was performed on this building, in which 90-some people perished. As a result of that, New Jersey has passed a law. The condos are now on a inspection basis. It's either 10 or 15 years for all condominium buildings, that they also have to be inspected for this same reason. If you look in the paper on the Pinelands Tribune on page 3, it talks about a building that is partially collapsed. I believe it was the Green Bank Inn, possibly, if we have it, that was once again condemned back in 2012 or something like that. In 18 was deemed a public nuisance and has since collapsed. We don't have the luxury of sitting here. I understand people's feelings. I empathize with that. But I also understand that if this building were to collapse, that the fingers would be pointing as to why I didn't do something. I am obligated by law that I just read to you that this building either has to be demolished or made safe for repair. How you folks want to go about that is up to you guys, but we cannot continue to sit on it like
Mr. Sprague, I think it was money well spent. In the past couple of weeks since we had our subcommittee meeting, we spoke to Tom, and it has been deteriorating even further. Now rocks are coming out. We could already see from the outside, from the inside. This sitting committee, there's been no, for the past probably 20 years, not just since 2021, been no substantial preventative maintenance or steps to move to secure it, other than the temporary fix of whatever time you said you did that was supposed to be in there for 3 months, that bought you 3 months. Well, that 3 months is now turning into almost 3 years. There has been no action from them until now. So, based on Tom's report, from both 2021 and 2024, I moved to demolish 163 Carranza Road and authorize Tom Leese and the town clerk to do all things legally necessary to authorize, and also to authorize the town clerk to order a safety fence to be put around it because it is in danger of collapsing. So now we need a fence around it, and that's just from the past few weeks. Do I get a second?
Mr. Boyd, before we do that, can I ask you a question?
I just moved to do something. I just made a motion, so you'll have to wait.
There's a motion, so just to be clear. So there's a motion, so it would be, it has to be done via resolution, so it's a motion. And there hasn't been a second yet. So
Where are the people? Hold on, safe and secure. Hold on, please.
So it's a, motion is a resolution, to demolish the current structure. What's the address? 167 Ransom Road. And to authorize the professionals to do all things necessary to accomplish the same and to immediately secure the premises with a fence to avoid any further.
For the safety fence, yeah.
So it's a resolution to demolish the structure, to immediately put a safety fence around the structure, and to authorize the professionals to do all things necessary. Do we have a resolution number?
What do the people want?
Hold on, Mr. White.
It would be resolution 46.
All right, so it's resolution 46, that's the resolution, motion has been made. Before discussion, there needs to be a second.
I'll second it for committee discussion.
Discussion?
Looking at it from my angle, I get it. Town hall is very sentimental to me myself. My father used to have dances in there, his 8th grade class of 21. It's a very difficult decision, but looking at just to make it unusable, but to make it safe, over $1 million. When we're trying to build a new town hall and go on, and we have an unsafe structure that could potentially fall off and fall down in on Medford Lakes Road. Medford Lakes Road, or what have you. You know, it's a very difficult decision to
Remove you
do.
from the meeting, go ahead, you
But-
try that.
The
You
people
left
are
it like that,
Hold on.
making it to the campaign.
Hold
Mr.
on.
Cheney didn't do a darn thing about the building
Let's
since
discuss.
you've
Hold on.
been elected.
Hold on.
It's pathetic.
And neither has the past 2 committees, and probably more before that. This isn't anything new. A building doesn't get like this in 3 years.
3 years and left and do a lot of damage.
No.
Okay. Anyone else want to discuss?
It was to demolish or safe off the building, am I correct? That's how that's,
We can either fix it.
No,
or
the
we're not
motion,
gonna.
the motion pending, to be clear, the motion pending was the motion pending via resolution was to demolish the building, but before it was demolished, to immediately secure it off with a safety fence and authorize the professionals to do all things necessary to accomplish that, which is demolish, safety, and safety.
I understand that part, but I'm just asking a question of Mr. Porter. It's demolished or safe off the building?
That would be correct, yes, sir,
Okay.
Mr. Sprague.
So,
Sorry, I can't hear.
to have it
Make the building safe.
safe, okay?
Yes, correct.
It already exists.
So, plywooding off the building, okay, the windows, and nobody can access it. We would never try to break it. We could plywood off the building at a very minimal expense. With fence around it. The rocks that are falling in, that's coming from Medford Lakes Road? That side?
The foundation that was collapsing is on the Medford Road.
So it's probably hydraulic pressure that's putting that, making those rocks fall?
That would be best guess from both myself, the architect of record, and the senior first. That's correct.
If, temporarily, French drain that area in a very inexpensive repair, would that, work to safe off the building?
It would have to also have the structural repairs that are noted in the report from October 12th, 2023.
You would only have to repair that portion where the rocks are being pushed out, correct?
I don't know what the engineer's report specifically stated. I assume it's going to have to be the entire foundation, but that's only an assumption, so I don't.
It sounds.
Right now, you and I, actually, we're talking about moving the building.
Yes, sir, absolutely, we were.
When the building is moved, everything that you had from that slide, that's all goes away. The foundation, those porches, all the interior walls, everything all goes away. It's on a new foundation, or, I don't know, we're thinking about it a long time ago, or slab. The sill plates that are there, they would be replaced at the same time.
If the building were to be moved, it would be on a new foundation. The, idea was, in discussions with the architect, it would not be on a slab because of the unevenness of both the beams and the floor joists. So it would not have an actual berm all the way around. It would be on a crawl space, probably about 4 foot deep.
Okay.
Just a standard crawl space, it has to be deep enough, but not too deep. The structural repairs would be the replacement of some of the beams that you saw on the, as well as some of the metal beams that were actually bending down at this point. They would have to be replaced. At that point, on a new foundation, the building would probably be deemed structurally safe, that is correct.
Okay.
Yes.
All the things that you showed in your slides, the aluminum siding, that goes away. The porches, they go away. All that stuff goes away prior to it being moved, am I correct? All the stuff that you that you had shown in your slides, theoretically would be replaced before it's set into the new building.
It wouldn't necessarily have to be. When we're talking structurally sound, it's basically the foundation, the structure of the building consisting of the floor joists, beams, posts, et cetera, The siding itself is not necessarily structure, it is unsafe because it could fly off and.
No, I'm not talking about as far as a safety thing.
Yeah.
But the things that you were showing, those things would be corrected in the new roof. It's going to get new siding.
It would have to get new siding, it would have to get new roof shingles.
Exactly.
It would have to get, in that one section, the porch would have to be completely rebuilt because as you saw, the sheathing underneath it.
That was not original probably to the building anyhow.
I don't know, the actuality from what we can see in the pictures, the main entrance was on the, Medford Lake side of the building.
So, in answer to my question, in order to save the building off now, to plywood it, to repair the foundation, I I don't know if that can be done temporarily because it's not going to be a permanent fix, as well as a French drain would solve the problem immediately right now.
Additionally, it would have to be the structural members.
Which one are you speaking about?
The beams, the posts, and any of the floor joists that are deficient.
Bill, it's on page 2 of 3 of the report tonight.
Yes, I think people should have said what they want for the town.
If,
We got trustees, we got servants, and we got beneficiaries.
Let him talk the story.
a lot of questions. I have a lot of questions. And to make a quick decision on what's to be done, I think what you're saying is correct. We have to discuss this further.
Yes.
Yes.
And, you
We
know,
had a few discussions.
so,
Respectfully.
you and I are in the same business, man. We
Are
can
absolutely,
we can
and
walk the same
I've
line.
given, and I've said that you're one of the few people that is actually for it. See, respectfully, this has been over 2.5 years now. That we have continued to say we need discussion. Frankly, it's time to fish or cut bait.
I'm there.
So,
I absolutely agree. And this actually has been going on for 15 years. They've been
I
talking.
apologize, I can't hear you, you're being interrupted.
This has been going for a lot of years.
Yes, sir.
It's been kicked down the road so many times. Now we're at the point where there ain't nothing to kick.
Who's responsible?
Fisher could be. And I think what's required, before we raise our hand and say, yeah, let's just knock it down, I think we need to have more discussion. What I'm talking about, I'm talking something very short term. I'm not talking about 6 months from now or whatever. There's a workshop meeting that's coming up that can be discussed then. And I think we need to make more of a decision, rather than just come in and say, let's just bulldoze it, you know?
And that would be a decision for this committee to make. What I'm stating is, as the construction official, as a licensed construction official in the state of New Jersey, I just read you the law.
Yeah.
And I truly believe that 2.5 years is a very long time in order to look at it and discuss it.
So where have
Certainly-
you been?
Yeah, what's up?
Hold on, please stop, please.
Blatant maladministration. Hey, you guys have done.
Certainly if this committee were to say that they will have a decision rendered to the construction office on the workshop meeting night, I would certainly be okay with that. However, if you wanted to make that decision tonight, then that's certainly up to you folks, however, which way you want to go. It just needs to be made. I just can't stress the urgency of we need to do something quickly. We need to get this. It is now, you saw, Bill, the 4-inch drop in 12 feet, that's a lot. That's a significant drop. An inch and a half on a steel beam that's bent is a lot.
With the township just winterizing the building, does the township hold responsibility for the condition where it is now?
The trustees.
Before you, if you don't wanna answer that.
No, that's fine.
I'll answer it, because it is definitely the township's responsibility. They caused the building.
Yes.
The excess.
It's the trustees' responsibility.
The excess.
Here, I apologize, I can't hear you, sir.
Could you just give me a minute?
I'm sorry.
With how the building was winterized, before any of these people were here, okay, caused more damage than if the heat had been left on, but if the building flexed the way it should. Am I off base or am I there?
I will give you my personal opinion, and I think you're there. That did not help it at all. I'll leave it at that, it didn't help. That, certainly, a building is designed to flex, it is designed to be maintained. It's not good, I think, one of the reasons, and Rick's still here, I was an advocate for the heat and air conditioning for that Pepper House, was for that
Right.
same exact reason.
Yep.
That discussions that I had with you and with Rick was that it's not good that a building is like that. That the humidity levels in the summer are up in the 90% some days, and
It's 120 degrees up in the attic.
so, that was one of the things with that building, why I was a strong advocate for getting some type of conditioning unit in there. It doesn't have to be 76 in the summer, and it doesn't have to be 76 in the winter, it just has to be, help to be controlled.
Exactly.
So whether it did, I can give you only my personal opinion, I think Mr. Lees would be, more versed on that than I would be as far as building dynamics, or maybe Mr. England, but, in my opinion and my experience, I would say that probably contributed somewhat. I would not be surprised if it did.
Okay.
Why wasn't the committee educated
What else?
I've been in every meeting about this.
Hold on, Mrs. Brooks.
Why wasn't that
Hold on,
discussed?
Mrs. Brooks.
Yeah,
Hold on.
why wasn't
Let's
that?
discuss
Really,
it
we
now.
have a right to
Hold on,
enter into
please,
this
please.
conversation. Why weren't?
Please, Mrs. Brooks. Anyone's going to discuss anything more?
No.
All right, we have a motion that was on the table, right?
Yes.
We do roll call now?
Well, we're going to do the second.
Yeah.
Okay, second is, right, okay, yeah, roll call.
You got the notices about the neglect of the town hall, and you guys didn't.
Mr. Ward, please.
respond.
Please, Mr. Ward. Yeah.
All right, this is warring against
Roll call.
the Constitution.
Mr. Sprague.
Yes. For board discussion.
That's
not-
that's not
not
the
the
motion.
motion.
The motion is.
So what's being voted on now is resolution 46, though it's out of order, which is Committeewoman Stone's motion that was seconded by Mr. Moore, which was to demolish the current structure of Town Hall, to immediately safety fence it off, and to authorize professionals to do all things necessary, legal and proper to effectuate that. That is the current motion.
Mr. Sprague,
No.
Mr. Moore.
It's a very difficult decision, but with the cost,
Hold on, Mr. Ward.
with the cost and everything, and sentimental, it's hard, with so much going on in the town, to say yes.
Stone,
Yes.
Hartman,
Yes. Hurts me, by the way. To say-
Shame on you.
discussed
Shame on you.
discussed this
Disgrace.
Brooks,
Disgraceful.
Sandy and Mark were here.
Shame on you.
would not discuss
And
it.
it's
Disgraceful
1 year
crew.
with a woman who's
We're
lived
taking
in
5
town
minute
for
recess.
2
We're
Despicable.
years, who knows nothing about construction and nothing about this town. You vote to demolish a building that rarely exists in this country. Your
Disgraceful.
basic.
Mrs. Brooks, thank you.
Shame on you all.
Thank you.
Shame on you
Thank
all
you.
is
Thank
right.
you
You
for
should
time.
be removed
Despicable.
from office.
Hang your heads
You don't
tonight.
have the conscience to say there should be a
Thank you, Mrs. Brooks.
referendum.
Mrs. Brooks,
A
please stop.
referendum
You have
about
lost
that
the faith of the
building.
people. You have no
This is not
trust. You're despicable.
sentimental. This is our
Please, Mrs.
history.
Brooks.
Disgusting.
Get worse.
We
You
could
guys
not
already
be,
agreed to not-
Shame on you.
government in this
Oh,
town
fine.
could not
Okay.
be worse.
Every one of you,
Could not
disgrace.
be worse.
Thank you for
You're
your comment. Please.
incompetent.
Shame.
Stop,
You
Mrs.
should be
Brooks.
voted
Now
out
administration.
of
Now,
office.
Mrs. Brooks.
She's a beneficiary, she deserves to speak.
All right.
All right.
My God.
Consent agenda, resolutions. Resolution 2024-45, shared service with Medford Lakes Municipal Court. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Roll call.
Mrs. Stone, you must feel
Ignoring our
great.
legal
Thank you,
notices.
Mrs. Brooks.
You guys
Disgraceful.
ignored our legal
Shame.
notices.
Pathetic.
Yes.
Come into this.
Yes.
Mr. Moore,
I don't
You know what's going on in government and you vote against something.
Ms. Stone,
They were notified not to do anything that.
Yes.
You people are a disgrace for calling out like this.
Please.
That's the disgrace. That's what it is. You have no proper decorum.
Don't
You have
show
no
up,
class.
don't
That's
show
wrong.
up at a
What
meeting
you're
and think
doing
you know
is-
something
it's
about
fiscal-
local
it's
government.
fiscally
Because you
responsible.
know
It would be
nothing.
fiscally
It is
irresponsible
not, it's up to the
fix
people
that
of this
building.
town to decide
And I'm part
whether
of this
they
town
want.
also.
That's fine, for 2 years.
All right, everyone, please.
4 years. To make it
Right.
right.
That changes everything.
You're a disgrace.
I think
You're a
we
disgrace.
need some.
For calling out like that. I am. You're a disgrace for calling out like that.
Please, Mr. Ward, sir, please, settle down. You guys have been notified by legal notice and.
Now you're gonna threaten, now you're threatening
They've
them?
already been legally
They
notified.
worked their asses off for you. They worked their asses off for everybody in here.
Nothing for us.
Okay. They do what they feel is the best. They make the best decision they can for everybody in here.
Mr. Stone.
Conflict of interest, actually.
All right. Okay, guys. Get back in here.
Mark's been there for.
It's gonna get real fun now. The affidavits are coming. Have mercy on you. The affidavits are coming.
That's not moving forward. That's not moving forward.
Report, yeah, there's more of us. Mr. Ward, please stop, please. Keep it down, look, keep this down. Let's go to the reports. Mary Alice.
Okay, my January Oprah report is in the packet. Monthly collections for January, $261,775. 67 Richter Road settled, that was at public auction, we just made settlement for $46,000. Ms. Stone, Mr. Moore, and myself met with the fire department, we reviewed their procedures, how things are going to be handled in the future, reports.
Sorry.
Like conflict of interest there.
A lot of conflicts in it.
Please, Mr. Ward. Yeah, Mary Alice, please.
Somebody's gonna,
Reports that the fire department are going to be submitting in the future. We discussed some budgetary items. That's it. Stag Leap Road. We received.
Stag's Leap Court.
Stag's Leap, oh, is that you? Hi. We did receive Mr. Gallagher?
Yes.
Okay. We received an email from Mr. Gallagher. Stag's Leap is off of Crickett's Mill. Crickett's Mill is getting ready to get paved. Stag's Leap has become in bad disrepair. I spoke with Mr. Lease about it. He said, you know, that maybe we could join in on the pavement for Crickett's Road. However, Stag's Leap is long, it goes back far. It would be roughly about $100,000 to do that.
It's not, I'm sorry, real quick, it's just the circle. It's not even the.
I drove back there, I saw it, it's just the circle itself.
Yeah, we're not asking
Not
for
the whole road,
It's
it's
just
the
the
circle
circle.
itself.
That's it.
I can revisit it and
Okay.
modify the process.
I do appreciate it, thank you.
Meeting with the TAA, Ms. Hedden and I did sit down, we reviewed the ordinance. As per questions, we are not talking about increasing fees for TAA's usage. It is for outside organizations that want to use the field, people that are not residents of the town. In order to qualify under the TAA, the team, 51% of the team has to be a resident of Tabernacle. So these are for people outside of that. As Ms. Henning already mentioned, the scoreboard was donated from the family of Rick Zozo. The street sweeping memo, it was very basic, it wasn't meant to be detailed, it wasn't meant to provide a whole ton of information. We're gonna have a budget meeting in the future. At that time, I just wanted to make everyone aware, since we're being accused of lack of transparency so much, I'm trying to make everyone aware of what's coming up. So that is a new, because we got bumped up into the tier A category, that is going to be a requirement that we're not gonna have to do. All right, the GIS meeting that was requested about, Ms. Brooks, you asked me to answer you about GIS?
Yes, please.
I met with Panoni and Mr. Barkley Phillips. The GIS is another one of the stormwater requirements that we're going to have to map all of our drainage. It was a very brief, very basic meeting. Who's going to be the users? How much equipment are we going to need? And you know, as they get the equipment, we'll get into more training and things like that. Any questions for me? Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, one more thing I wanted to add. it was asked at last month's meeting for more details on the shared service agreement for Public Works. Woodland has rectified the situation themselves, we will not be needing a Public Works agreement, so we don't have to worry about that. The January tax collector report, $956,848.64.
CFO.
No report for tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The project for the phase 2 resurfacing of Frickettsville Road has been advertised, scheduled to open on March 13th. We provided a proposal for professional services to start the design of Hawkins Road resurfacing. That can be reviewed and we can address that at the next meeting. Those are in line with the priority list that were provided for the township. Priority street conditioning. I made a point to review that for the upcoming application grants to see if we can update that priority list. Just to dovetail off what Mary Alice said, the GIS information is required by the state permitting. The township has received a grant to do some of that work, so we're using that grant in the GIS. Other than that, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lees. Solicitor.
Very quickly, though, a little bit out of the ordinary, I would just ask the committee to look at pages 5 and 6 of the minutes that were approved tonight from the last meeting, just to confirm that the minutes accurately reflect what the scope of the subcommittee is with respect to both the new building and the old building. If you refer to page 5 and the minutes,
Oh, I see, okay.
Mr. Sprague moved for the form of the subcommittee, and then it jumps down at the bottom of page 5, where Deputy Mayor Stone indicated that she wanted a motion for that. It was actually Mr. Boyd who recommended that the subcommittee that was just formed for Mr. Sprague's motion, the administrator and himself, meet and discuss possibilities for the old municipal building, including first floor only, public use, private use, etc. And that's where the motion for a ride ready. So I would just ask that but there was some question as to what was done with the subcommittees, and we want to make sure, because clearly this is a contentious issue, that these minutes accurately reflect what happened at the last meeting, because they were already approved. So if there's a motion to amend in any way, that would be the time, and we'll have to redo the approval. That is my whole report. Thank you.
All right. EMS? All right, fire chief?
Is Kyler? Are you going to make your report? Oh, okay.
Good evening, committee, administrators, members. To report on the Tabernacle Fire Department. To date, our calls, some of the things that are going on with our activities, and some of the other things that are keeping up with what's happening in the fire department. Our year-to-date incident report, February 20th, 2024. We've had 20 incidents in Tabernacle, 9 in Chemung, 8 in Woodland, 3 in Southampton, 1 in Medford, and 1 in Pemberton. We've had 11 alarms, 10 motor vehicle accidents, 4 roadway hazards, 4 structure fires, 2 brush, 2 rubbish, 2 wires, 1 alarm, 1 assist EMS, 1 fire police, 1 fumes, 1 landing zone assignment, 1 LANSAR, which is a lost person, and 1 pump out. In the month of January, we had 26 runs, and so far, in the month of February, as of the 20th, we've had 16 in February. Some of the activities that we've held related to things that are not fire calls or training. We've held a pre-build meeting with FF1 to go over the production of the tender, what is on order. All of our SCBA backs and bottles have been inspected by MES. Issues that were noted have been properly addressed. We've had 2 resident walk-ins where fire education and a station and apparatus tour occurred. And after a fire, there was a concern about the Seneca draft point. We've actually met with
leadership with Lenape District, and the draft point is working fine. They are, as just notified, replacing the pump, so that will be out of service at this moment, and the school will let us know when that goes back into full service. Training report, we've had a topic for this month, SCBA knowledge and competencies. 4 members are actively attending motor vehicle rescue training with the rescue squad at the rescue squad building. We had a night where we had CPR recertification for any member that was out of date or needed it, along with the rescue squad members. We had a combined training and instructors from both organizations. We currently have 1 member in Firefighter 1 class at the Burlington County Fire Academy. We've had no injuries to report over the month, and it's been 112 days since we've had a reportable injury. We are in the process of developing our equipment list. There were some questions about values, so we are working on what you want for a list, both times and value. So some things are worth more than others, obviously. So we're going through and trying to get that so that you have a list of where they are, expectancy, and then what value they are if you have to replace, both for insurance purposes and for budgeting purposes. The duty staffing has had 136 hours this year already, so we are up and running with that. We are applying for a SAFER grant and an AFG grant before the March 8th deadline. All of our reports are completed and ready for the NIFRS, which is the National Fire Index Reporting System, which are required to have when we apply for grants. We are going through obsolete equipment that is no longer serviceable. Some has aged out, so that we can begin to liquidate them with Mary Alice's and committee's knowledge. That is all I have for the moment.
Great, thank you, Chief. Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Chief.
Anything else?
Anybody have any questions? No? Good job as
All
always.
right, thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Recreation Director, Mr. Lemire.
Good evening, Mark Lemire, Washington Way, Recreation Director. A couple of things. First of all, I really just want to come here and reinforce Lynn's comments. Lynn and the PA are just a jewel in the epitome of volunteers in this town. What I think, if anyone ever gives some thought to what you do to replace the volunteers that do the TA in this town, I think you'd find yourselves in almost near impossible situation to try to replace them. Lynn Hedden and the commitment she's made to this town is incalculable, and it shows her enthusiasm, it shows what the efforts that she's done. So anything this township committee can do to support her efforts are absolutely not enough. So just keep that in mind. So I just want to thank you personally. As to the recreation activities, we have 2 that revolve around the township center, which one is the Memorial Day Parade and the second is the tree lighting. We no longer have a township center as of today's resolution. So you passed today's resolution for whatever reasons fiscally, which I find interesting, because if we said it costs $10,000 to renovate the building, everybody would say money well spent. Okay, $100,000, pick a number. So it's truly one of just finances, and then again, some pays taxes, I'm not oblivious to finances. But in its totality, we're now basically, we're in a hole around where we used to have a township center, and I don't know any plans to do anything other than make a hole around. I understand the safety reasons. But we also haven't put the shovel in the ground in the new complex. I was never a fan of where it's located, just from a community standpoint. I think it's off the beaten path. I don't think it represents our township well. People don't even know where it is. But give some thought, because right now, there's those two township activities where we've gained a lot of support over the years. I truly sit here and have no idea what to do with them. I don't know where the parade is going to go to. I don't know where we're going to have tree lighting. So give some of that thought as you contemplate their next steps, because right now, as far as I'm concerned, we don't have a recreation committee. So, and if that's your plan, and I understand the reasons to make decisions based on fiscal situations, but like I said, that appears to be the only reason that you're demolishing this building is because you can't afford it. And I find that ironic, since I can't seem to find anything concrete on what the new complex is going to be. And again, if that were to take over some of the activities or carry some of the activities that the current one does, I'd see that, but we seem like we scaled that back as well. So again, like I said, I see the township center deteriorating underneath our feet. I don't see a plan to replace it, but I think that's something you need to give some consideration to as you go perhaps at your workshop. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you. Public Works?
Okay, they have been 207 days accident-free. They list the hazardous waste collection, metal collection, TV recycling collections, brush collections on there. They have salted Township roads in inclement weather on the 16th and 17th, and then I believe there was actually another recent storm after this report was done. And at the request of the Township Committee, the Old Town Hall building was reheated. It included cleaning the facility, cleaning the heater, and filling the oil tank.
You guys.
Thank you very much. All right, committee comments. Mr. Strike.
Yeah, I'm just very, very disappointed with what came on tonight. Because clearly, there's not many people in town that actually wanted that. And it's a shame to take that away from Tabernacle. What Rick Franzen had said, that when the municipal, the other building is paid for, literally there'd be no impact to salvage that building. That we could do what we have to do now, and it's just, it's a disgrace. And that's really all that I have to say.
Thank you, Mr. Sprague.
Thank you, Mr. Strike. Mr. Moore.
Okay, a couple things. Sitting here, you know, I see the emotions. I sat out in there before, in the crowd. It is not easy. The decisions this committee makes is very difficult and sometimes extremely trying. I've tried to be a leader my entire life, but being a leader, sometimes I understand, comes with some of these disappointments of certain individuals and people and what they truly believe in. I care about this town, and I can assure you every decision I make, I try to do the best I can for the town, and I promise you that. That's why I sit here. It's very difficult. It was probably the hardest decision I've ever had to make in my life, with being a longtime resident here and family here. But I want to tell you, I give it my all, and it's for the reasons I try to think what's best for the town, as far as fiscally and financially.
That was the case you
And
would've
also going
wanted.
back to, the discussions, John, you know, with Gordon and all that stuff. Again, talk about two hot topics at one time in a meeting, hour and a half of public comment. I get all of us collectively, including myself and all of us, love that Gordon State Forest with all of our heart. We do. That's why you folks are sitting here, the folks that were here that left. It's why we sit here. It's a very difficult decision to decide what to do, what not to do. But the DEP does have control of the park. Yes, it's the people's park, but there has to be set baseline rules, there has to be whatever. My feeling is, it's no different than us up here going through a public process. It's like an ordinance. They unveiled the map. I went down collectively as a committee member, Mayor Hartman went down, so we could see what was going on. They were trying to be, this is totally different than it was in 2015, I feel. They have done a lot more. They tried to get ahead of the curve to put it out there to the folks. Believe me, I understand both sides of the table, 100%. I'm a guy sitting in the middle, trying to say, what can we do? Because it's near and dear to my heart, too, the Wharton tract. But my feeling is, it's like any other public process. The public comment, it's 1 million visitors. They say visits that park every year. And I say, let it go through the process of let the public comment come in, let DEP take the public comment. I'm sure there's gonna be probably additions to the map. I don't know, I'm not talking to anybody directly. I don't know, so I'm not part of the process. Let's see, before I would make a decision and feel comfortable, I would like to see what the final map is after they collect the data, before I would take a stance one way or the other, just to let the public be heard. And I'm trying to be as fair about this as possible to everybody, and I hope folks respect that. And that is all, Mayor.
Well, regardless, it's our decision, you work for us.
Yeah.
So we all want
Right.
the roads open, so we would think that you would vote that way, regardless of the DEP.
Right. You don't work for
Understand? You work
Yeah,
for
we're not
us.
asking you to stop the DEP, we're saying to condemn what they're saying.
Well, and there's a lot of
One
more,
person
there's
who
a lot more
doesn't
things on
live
the
in this
agenda
town
tonight.
spoke in favor of what they're doing. Not one person who lives in this town spoke
Please,
in
sir,
favor.
please.
If you don't have the balls to do it, put it on the next
Please,
election.
thank-
Put it on, we'll vote on
please.
it ourselves, but
Thank
you
you
don't have
for
the balls
coming.
to do it.
Thank you.
We have the
Thank
balls
you.
to do it.
Deputy Mayor, do you have any comments?
I do. You know, Ms. Brooks, you made a comment, who am I, just moving here and making these decisions. How many people in the past 15, 16 years stepped up to even run to do this? Not many. So I'm somebody who put myself out there, who dedicates my time, where I could be Netflix and chilling with that man behind you. Spending time with my grandchildren. So if you think that we sit up here for an hour and make snap decisions, that's not the case. We spend hours upon hours upon hours a week working. So you don't, that's fine, Ms. Brooks, but I watch you month after month mocking us here. I've watched you do it when I
I'm
wasn't.
mocking you, I'm working on
Let me
advocacy
finish the way that we let you finish with
and
your 4 minutes.
democratic accountability.
So-
It's not mocking
Ms.
you.
Brooks,
No,
please,
it's
let him finish.
mocking, and you treat the
That's not
people up
mocking.
here since before I was on committee like children. And if this was the private sector and you were our boss, you don't endear your employees to you.
I'm not
So-
the private sector. You-
I know
you
you're not.
pay your-
I'm
you pay
making
your
a
salary.
point. I'm making a point that we do this because we do love the town, not because it's playtime. As far as I do think that you do have a point with the classes. If somebody quits 2 weeks later, maybe there should be something, to reimburse those classes. But somebody like Rodney, for a $200 class that he took years ago, that's worth every penny. I want them to have all the skills that they can have to run the
You know
private
what, I'd like to talk to you about that
position.
after the meeting, because that
I don't have time
demonstrates
to
your
talk
lack
to you
of
after the
understanding
meeting.
about
I
what
want to go home after the meeting.
Okay.
You
Besides
don't know what
that,
you're talking about.
besides
Please,
that, and that may be the
make
case,
comments.
that may be the case, but I can assure you I'm no dum-dum and I'll learn
I
in
didn't say
time.
you were a dum-dum, I
Great.
just said you should know what you're
Please.
talking about.
Ms. Brooks, please.
So,
Okay.
besides that, as far as the DEP, as a member of the committee, I do stand before you tonight on the matter of the proposed road closures in Morton State Forest. I feel like it used to be our area, because I've been in the area for 40 years, and it was just us using it, but in the wake of the internet and everything, now there's millions of users. They're coming from, North Jersey, New York, they're making, field trips out of utilizing the forest. It's not you that are disrespectful of it. You have a love for it, and I get that, but in an effort for me to understand the various concerns, I recently spoke with both the Department of Environmental Protection, representatives of the off-roading community. I met with Mr. Druding, I met with Jason, and I also took a ride for 3 hours driving with a member of, a resident of Tabernacle who knows the forest well and enjoys driving these roads. This experience did help highlight the importance of finding a solution that balances both the environmental protection and responsible public access. My general belief, in my heart of hearts, is that the answer is never more government control, but better enforcement of existing laws. I do understand that the proposed closure can be viewed as an attack on your freedom to enjoy the forest. The last thing people do want after coming out of the government overreach of the pandemic is more government overreach, and I'm sure everybody's up to here with that sort of thing, and you want your freedom, and it's maddening, and I understand that. But true freedom also comes with responsibility. A small number of irresponsible users are damaging the environment and jeopardizing the access for all. While I respect the previous township's resolution support for the DEP's map, I also acknowledge your concerns about the potential impact of extensive road closures. Do I believe that they're going to be what they are right now in the illustration that you saw. No, I think that they're gonna open up more, but I don't know for sure. I'm not the Department of Environmental Protection. But simply opposing the DEP's concerns is unlikely to achieve a solution, especially as the public comment period for the state remains open until March 9th. Instead, I propose focusing on solutions that address the concern of all the stakeholders. The DEP's goal, as we know, is ensuring public safety and protection of natural, cultural, historical resources in the forest, safeguarding the sensitive habitats, and ensuring enjoyment by all. I can tell you that when my husband and I moved to Tabernacle, we got in a Lincoln Navigator, got lost, wound up in I don't even know where, in townships I never heard of, and did $9,000 in damage to that Navigator. So people do get stuck. You know, I was out there standing on rocks. He's in there with a giant stick, you know, testing the thing. So there, you know, there are some concerns with that as someone from the EMS, I believe. I'm not finished, if I may. Many agree that there should be stricter enforcement of existing regulations to address the negative actions of the minority, rather than limiting access for responsible users. Wharton State Forest is a community treasure, funded by taxpayers and meant for enjoyment. I encourage all residents to participate in the DEP's public comment process before March 9th. Open dialogue is crucial, and open comment is your opportunity to be heard. My hope is after the public comment period is over, the DEP considers the concerns of your concerns and will clearly present their criteria they're using to determine how they keep the environment safe while allowing the safe use of the forest, and communicate the reasoning and the effectiveness behind the changes. As we know, clear communication builds trust, and I do believe that the key is working together to find that solution that both protects our environments and your freedoms and the enjoyment of nature lovers. The DEP, when I spoke to them, what they wanted when you said you wanted to come to the table, or Mr. Jordan, I'm addressing you because we spoke about this at length. They want a clear who, what, when, like who you are, what are you using it for, when do you use it, what time of day, how long do you use it for? Like, so that's what they're looking for, that kind of detail in your public comment, not just, you know, don't close the roads. I'm not saying that you did that, I'm just saying that detail is what they're looking for. And that's all. I thank you all for coming out. It's so uncomfortable to publicly speak, and I'm impressed with the show here tonight of people that let us know how they feel.
Thank you. Thank you, Deputy. It was correctly said. Perfectly said. All right, for me, I've been hearing a lot of public about having residents on our building committee, and I would like to make a motion to put Kyler Vina on the subcommittee with me, the deputy mayor.
Why? It's too late. It's too
For the
late.
new building.
You voted to demolish
The
the
new building.
The new building.
You never,
Mrs. Brooks.
oh, the new building.
The new building.
Yeah, now I thought that was a fait accompli.
So I get a
Your
motion to
process
approve.
is
Hold on, Mrs.
half-assed
Brooks.
backwards.
You ought to run for office, Mrs. Brooks. You ought to get up there.
Hold on,
I
Mrs.
have
Stone.
been.
Hold on.
I haven't, I know what it is.
So I'd like to get a motion to approve Kyler Vina to be on the
Grow up,
subcommittee with
grow
us.
up.
I
You
second.
You
gotta
grow
get
up.
some balls in.
All right, roll call.
Mr. Sprague?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Ms. Stone?
Yes.
Definitely Mayor.
Yes.
They get-
Thank you,
Is
Kyler.
Kyler here? Do you accept that appointment?
Thank you so much, Kyler. Appreciate it. All right. Executive session.
Putting him on, all right, what's the basis for putting him on the session?
Why would we vote for this?
Thank you. So this will change now because, we added the other resolution, which was 46. The executive session will now become 47. Okay, resolution 2024-47, whereas the Township of Tabernacle hereinafter the Township is subject to the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-1 et sec, the Act, which requires that its meetings be open to the general public. And whereas section 10:4-12 of the Act permits the Township Committee to go into closed session, which is not open to the general public, for certain limited purposes enumerated in that section. And whereas the Township Committee hereby desires to adopt this resolution to go into closed session at this time in order to, number 7, discuss any pending or anticipated litigation or contract negotiations in which the township is or may become a party and/or any matters falling within the attorney-client privilege. And/or number 8, discuss any matter involving the appointment, termination, terms and conditions of employment, evaluation of performance of any specific prospective or current public officer or employee of the township related to contract with Pembroke Township for shared services for construction and employment shared services for Tom Boyd. Now therefore be it resolved that the Mayor and Township Committee have determined to go into closed session for the reasons articulated above immediately after passage of this resolution. This resolution shall be kept on file for public inspection in accordance with statutory provisions. Be it further resolved, the minutes of said meeting shall be made available for disclosure to the public consistent with NJSA 10:4-13 when the items of which the subject of the closed session discussion are resolved and a reason for confidentiality no longer exists.
Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second. I'll second.
Roll call.
Mr. Sprague?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Ms. Stone?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes.
Let the record show that we entered into executive session at 9:12. Action may be taken.
You forgot to answer my question, Councilor Road, the way it should be answered that when you come out of executive session. All right, can I get, we'll come back out of the executive session, can I get a motion to come out of it?
I second.
Roll call.
I'm sorry, who made that motion?
Mr. Sprague.
And Ms. Stone? Okay, I'd like a motion to approve resolution 2024-48, which will be a motion to approve a shared services agreement between Pembroke Township and Tabernacle Township for plumbing and electrical services with Pembroke Township for an annual fee of $136,620. Do I have a first on that? And a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Sprague?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Ms. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everyone. I'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Sandy, if you're so concerned about the financial well-being of this town, why didn't you vote to buy Sequoia? If you're so concerned, that's what Mr. Gray is your mentor, right?
I do want to, it's late now.
And I'm not a disgrace, I've been working for 15 years on government accountability. Don't ever call me a disgrace. And the point to you, Joe, is that you should get your facts straight. It's very important to get your facts straight.
This event.